Hello everybody, thank you for coming back to the channel and welcome to the series of building the Da Vinci flyer, of which we can see here the V-tail, kind of. I hope you can hear this because there's no noise outside, some lawnmower. Where we left it off the last time was with the fuselage structure pretty much done, not glued but loosely assembled. There's still a lot to do on the rear part, but what I'm trying to focus on now is actually smaller parts that go in the front. So one of the parts is the landing gear. So I've got this block and I've got some wire, so I'll start to do some bending around. I've got the pattern there, and the mechanism is quite interesting actually. It's hard to explain without the pieces, but basically the wires, they go in, they come across, and then they go up, and then they're closed off with a piece of ply like this. So that's for the landing gear. Then also the wheels, which I hope also would be fun to make somehow. So that's that with the landing gear. Also what I've done, I've taken off the firewall and I've been working on the firewall, making lots of holes, cutting things out. I still want to clean it up because it's still a little bit rough, but basically I've taken the motor from Ray. First of all I made a hole in the middle so the shaft can go through and turn freely. It's a little bit wide. I think it's a 3mm shaft and I made a 4mm hole, so it should actually turn quite freely. Then also, like Ray sent it already on this mount, which I'm not sure what it is, some kind of very hard plastic or fiberglass or something, I'm not sure, but it's pretty good. The holes aren't regular, which actually makes it easier. I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but it makes it easier to then not mix things up, right? So then I just presented here the motor, marked with a pencil where I wanted the holes, and then I made 3mm holes there. And what I haven't done yet, I haven't tried to put the screws through. So basically what I'm doing now is with the kind of the real hardware, so not the small things, find the screws that actually will go through, as you can see, and then with washers on the other side to get the tilt down, I think it's called, so thrust has to go down and to the right. It says that the thrust is built into F1 to go to the right. I'm not sure how Cliff did that. Maybe just, I'm not sure actually how that is done. But anyhow, I'll do it with washers, right? So I'll put in there the screw and then I'll thread it all through basically, and then like that it can be fixed. And if I put some washers in between, kind of hoping to put some washers, as you see there, on this top right hand side, which actually then will point the motor down and to the right. So I'll just add some washers there and no washers on this other side. Modification I had to do is for the cables, for the wires, so that they don't just stick over and they don't bend so much. They're a little bit worn already, so that's also a small modification that I did. So I'll be cleaning this up and assembling it and seeing if that works. If that works, actually I'll probably take it apart again. It's all about putting together and taking off, right? I'll take it off again and then I'll try to present it up and start to assemble it on the fuselage itself. And with this I think I can actually pretty much go ahead and glue already the fuselage. The landing gear will come in somewhere here, which also fits, kind of. Might need to sand it a little bit, but with this thing I would have actually already the structure for the fuselage. And what else then? Yeah, then one thing I need to do, as the motor comes somewhere here, I'm going to need to make a hole also in the floor of the middle. It's a floor, I think it's a floor in the middle of the board, so that the shaft can actually go through. It won't be too big because it will be somehow like this, but just to carve it out a little bit to make sure it doesn't have any friction there that is not needed. And what else? Yes, other screws also that are here I'll be using to fix in the landing gear. So a lot of the little details, but once that comes together, kind of, that's going to mean that I can glue it together and then start to work on the rear part of the fuselage, and then maybe even the wheels. We'll see how it goes along. It's going to take some time, but at least progress slowly is going to be rewarding. So follow me along on this one and I'll update you when I have anything else to show. So let's review first the engine mount. So here it is. I haven't glued anything actually together other than what was glued already before. The engine mount, as you see, I've put in some washers to give it a bit of a right, I don't know if you can see it, bit of a right tilt or right angle, and also downwards angle, again very slight, so I might need to do it more. But other than that, I think it's sitting in quite well. It's spinning freely. The propeller would sit actually ahead of the cowl, which is actually the whole point of it, and sitting quite well. I've put in the wires through the big hole because I presume that then the ESC actually will go here on the top part. I don't have the ESC. I'm not going to be able to order it still for some time, so it is going to take some time actually. But anyhow, I'm getting everything ready, and then also then the battery should go actually in the bottom side. Then I've got also the landing gear, which is actually a very interesting way how Cliff designed it. It's better if you make it more precise, like if you not Cliff's work. If my work would be more precise, I would be even better. But basically here's the block, and then there are the two pieces of wire that they cut across, and with these pieces holding it in place, then they stay in place as it is. And then there's also this other plate that comes in that I still need to drill the holes a little bit more so that I can put in the screws. I need to widen them, and then that would actually then keep them in place quite sturdily, I think. So it's like 1mm wire, or was it 14 gauge. And then ideally, let's see if I can show this goes in here at some point, and then I think then the weak point is going to be actually the glue holding the block to the sides of the fuselage. I think that's going to be then the potential weak point. I think that could also be fixed either with a dowel or with some screws going in from the side, or just having plenty of glue actually holding it in place. And it's I would say it's very nicely designed, because then if you can see it, the wire actually still, you can't see it, right? Maybe you can see there, the wire actually rests also on the fuselage, so it distributes the weight a little bit more also from that perspective. So let's see, it would actually look something like this, but it's not. No, it's going to fall out. So I've got to figure out where exactly it's going to go, which is actually, I think, quite far forward actually, right? Actually it's maybe it's a bit of a boo-boo what I've done, because it has to be actually right up against the firewall, but I'm not going to be able to do that because I've got there the motor cable, so it's going to go a little bit behind. So I hope that it still actually holds. Like, let's see how it goes. Let's see if it holds. No, it falls off. But anyhow, overall very nice design, I would say. Very well thought, and not so well assembled, but that's a progress. So then the next step is going to be, as I say, to put on the screws, take it all off at some point, of course, because it's still not going to be assembled, and I work maybe on the wheels. Let's see, it says here to create some, what they call them, some spoke wheels. I don't think I'll be able to do some spoke wheels, but I think something up, maybe some applied disc, and then put some balls around it for decoration and a bit more consistency. I'll see how I go around that, but so far so good. So let's see what kind of update I can give you. So first thing, I was scavenging around my materials, and I have found more materials. I have found some small ESCs. I can't remember what I bought them for, but it's okay. And at the same time, I've scavenged this one, which is, I think, way too large. This from the little glider. There's probably another video out there, maybe already, that it didn't go too well. So I managed to take this one, and I think this is going to be okay. If this is not, or if it's too big, then I might go and use one of these smaller ones. That again, I got them at just 15 amp. I think it should be enough, but these are going to require connector soldering and things like that. And as I don't like that too much, because I'm not good at it, I'm going to postpone, and I'm going to try to use this. So I hope that's going to be okay. I also found a receiver, which I got some time ago, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to pair up. It's just a 3-channel receiver. Again, I'm not sure why I got it. I think I was trying to do some vehicle more than airplane on this. I'm going to struggle to bind it, I'm sure, but I think if it's 3-channel, it should be okay, right? Because we just have one channel would be for the motor, and then one channel for each of the servos for the radiators, if that's what they're called. So I'm going to try then at some point to see if I can bind that up, connect it up, and make it work. That would be good, because it's small, it's light, I already have it, so it's cheap. So that would be good if I managed to do that. Then on other activities, so yeah, well, the landing gear, I think I showed it already, the structure, and I'm with the wheels. I was thinking of using O-rings, but I haven't found any big enough O-rings. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make another sandwich. This is what kind of a sandwich playing, right? So I'm going to cut out this 1mm ply. I've got the 2.5mm balsa, and my plan is basically to sandwich, this is not done yet, basically make these as wheels with the ply. I hope it's strong enough, and in any case it's just kind of to hold it, right, like to protect the propeller is what I want to have it for, and that it looks somehow okay. Once I have it then in place, then I might paint it or something. I'll see how it is, but the plan is basically to have these two discs, one on each side of the balsa. I put them through on the handrail and try to sand them down as round as possible, at least in pairs, and then like that, then basically have two discs that will then come here onto the end of the landing gear assembly, and then hopefully withstand at least the weight of the aircraft. And I'm not sure how to make it that they don't just wobble, so I'm going to have to probably put some sequins. I think that's a trick also from Cliff, to use some sequins. So I'll see how that goes. If not, then I also have some other wheels somewhere, I'm not sure where. I think here I've got some other wheels that I got for some other experiments and never actually used, or didn't use as many, so I still have some left, which is this. But this looks a little bit small, but on the worst case scenario, why not? If I can make them out of wood, all the better, it's more fun. If not, then I have then the plastic ones as a plan B. And I think that's it for the moment. So let's see what I can do, if I can put things together and then show you kind of the outcome, and maybe do a kind of a mock-up and see how it all goes along. And I've assembled the undercarriage. As you can see, I've put on this retention plate, and this with the two pieces of ply in between, I don't know if you can see it, keeps it actually in shape, because the shape of the wire comes up here, goes across, and then pokes up. So actually quite ingenious way that Cliff came up with. Building undercarriages that are resistant is not an easy thing. So kudos there, very good. So this actually is nice and sturdy. Just then the other step, as I was mentioning I think before, is just to make sure that it glues here very well, and then I think if it does glue on well, maybe even without any kind of retaining pins or dowels or screws, I think this is really going to be very, very sturdy. So very nice. It does not mean that I cannot break it. Do not underestimate my capacity to break undercarriages. Then for the wheels, so here I've got it on the handrail. This is one of the wheels. So as I was showing you, I cut the discs of ply. I cut also one of balsa, and then I made a hole. And this is the piece on the Dremel-like tool, let's call it like that, the handrail that is used also to put on the disc, the cutting disc and things like that. So the screw actually is enough to hold at least this is how much it will be, 1 2 3 4 5 millimeters, maybe a little bit more, it could even hold. First I sand down the ply discs, because those take much more, of course, they do need more. Here I've got the others, and then what I'm going to do now is basically remove it, put the glue, stick it, put it all together, the sandwich, and let it dry with the fork clamps maybe, and then go ahead and make then the other wheels. So we are close to being done on this. Let's see how it goes. I think it's time to wrap up the video, because I'm getting hooked up on the undercarriage, which I'm actually enjoying. That's why I spend maybe so much time on it this time. So I think I've shown you already. So this is the second wheel in preparation, chucked into the handrail, and basically I spin it, and with some sandpaper then I round it off, and then I make the sandwich with the balls, right? So that's where I think we left it before. Now with the other wheel, I was still thinking what Cliff writes here on the wheels. What does he say? Spoke wheels. Spoke wheels are very difficult to do, beyond my level. So I was thinking, and I was trying to remember my school time geometry and things like that, to just make some holes. And I looked at making 4 holes wasn't enough, 8 holes was too many, and then I went for pentagon design, so to make 5 holes. So I needed a pentagon basically to figure out where the holes are going to go, and I think that's going to be kind of okay. I took my biggest drill bit, which is 8 millimeters. I transferred this picture onto the existing wheel, and then I spent a while drilling as slowly as I dared, not that the drill is very fast, and I also put some paper on both sides to try to reduce the blowout. And I just finished this, so let's see if I just here live in front of you try to pull off the masking tape and see what it looks like, and hopefully it's acceptable and repairable. There's already a little bit of blowout, so let's see. So from this side I think it's okay. I think this is the way the drill went in, and then from this side there's a little bit of blowout on some of the holes, and maybe I just need to, I'm just thinking that the moment I see the hole peeping out, I should maybe turn it around and drill the other way. So that's kind of lessons learned for the next one. But I'm thinking overall it's looking interesting. I think it's quite sturdy. I don't think it saves much weight. It's more for the looks. So I'll just sand it down. Eventually I suppose I'll paint it somehow. I'm not sure what color. But I think this is looking quite acceptable. Then the mount on this is also going to be a bit of the challenge, but I think it's going to be acceptable, and you see if it actually looks kind of transparent, right, when you're spinning. Not that it'll spin very much. And then I'm still thinking about putting a tire on it, and for that it's like almost 2 inches, it's like 50 centimeters across. So I need to find either O-rings, thick O-rings that will go around, maybe carve down the sandwich a little bit that it sits in there like as a rim. So I'll go maybe to the hardware store and see if I find some nice thick O-rings that will fit. And if I don't find that, I got some time ago some foam material. It was hard to find, but I finally did find it, and it's surprisingly made in Taiwan, not China, which is also interesting, right? It's also good. So if I don't find the O-rings, then I was thinking I could actually just cut out maybe one thin strip exactly to measure, and stick it on there, and maybe one layer would be enough just to have kind of the black rim around. If I paint the wheel whatever, red or blue or green, whatever I paint it, and then just the black rim around, I think it would also look kind of okay. So that's kind of plan B if I don't find the O-rings. It's good to have several plans, and I think that's why I'm going to leave it, because there are a lot of things going on, still a lot to do with the fuselage. I thought it was going to be straightforward, but as I say, I'm hooked up on the undercarriage. So what I still have to make sure, I have to fit the servos. I probably put them in upside down, so that the connection rods go on the underside of the fuselage. Once that is done, then I can already start to glue, because at the moment nothing is glued. I also have to adjust these pieces, these strengthening pieces, because they are ever so slightly long, like 1 millimeter, which is, of course, it's better to be long than short, right? Like you can cut it, you can't just make it longer so easy. So I also need to adjust that, and then of course build up the whole top part of the fuselage, make sure that it's centered and all that, right? So there's still quite a lot with the fuselage, which is very enjoyable. I'm not complaining at all about that. The wings are going to be another story and very challenging, so maybe I'm postponing that slightly. So I'm going to leave it like that, as I say, and I'm going to probably have a bit of a pause of a couple of weeks on building this, so it might take some time until the next chapter comes out on this one. But in any case, thank you very much everybody for following along. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you especially for Cliff for all the recommendations and the plan, and I'll try to put the link to the plan in the comments in the description, so that you can also come and do it with me and enjoy it and do it even better. Good. Thank you everybody. Speak to you later.